It's Thursday again, tell everybody to lock in, grab some popcorn, a drink, and go and throw your AirPods in. It's the 1 hour show, constantly speaking facts. Bulletproof stats are always shooting from Matt. And when it comes to Kyle, you getting numbers and style. Jake is gonna educate you, he has that knowledge on file. Players, step your game up, don't be sluggish or lazy. Or Jimmy J might hit you with a shaky baby. Catch him on YouTube or any podcast platform. Breaking all the news down like Shaq does the backboards. No hot takes, this is where the hottest debate's at. Now kick your feet up, cause it's time for straight facts.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Straight Facts, presented by the Up On Game Network. We are the sports show that educates and entertains. This is a big deal right now. Full roster.
It's been a while.
It's been a little bit that we've had all four of us, and we know how it goes when all four of us are on here. It's your boy, James Jackson, my guys, Jake Galley, Kyle Sierick, Ed Stat, Matt Robinson, coming at you Thanksgiving Eve, the day before Thanksgiving. So you know we got a whole lot of football to talk about, basketball and swing, whole lot of basketball to talk about. But first off, my guys, how we doing, man? It's been a little bit since we all been in the studio.
It's the best time of year, man. It starts to get cold. The holidays start hitting. Some people like summer.
I hate the cold.
I'm more like a fall-winter guy, to be honest with you. I think I'm way more of a fall-winter guy.
I need
than a
something
summer
more.
guy.
Yeah, I need some more.
I do actually like when it gets dark early. I know people think I'm weird for that. But the cold, I went in my car this morning. I had to get up early. It was like
the
20,
cold's drawn. No, it
was 20 degrees out. It's a little too early. Went too quick.
For me, I'm feeling really good because the Eagles are playing really good football, and the Sixers have Tyrese Maxey, who's a lot better than I thought. So I'm doing pretty good.
Not much better than I thought. We still have our Maxey ticket, most improved, riding it out. I feel great about it.
It took a dip for a little bit for maybe
I was tweaking a little bit.
Yeah, for like a 4 or 5 game stretch, it did. But now you're back. You're back.
Without Embiid, he's been like the guy.
He put up those games though. It's gonna drop off a little bit.
A little bit. He's still good.
He got the stats in.
Yeah. It's still in the running. All right, we'll get to basketball in a little bit because we're going to start with football. It's the most prevalent thing right now, and it's that time of the year where we start looking at the playoff picture, and that's what everybody loves to see. Teams who are trying to get in or are in the hunt. That's the teams we're going to focus on right now for this first segment. Like which teams who are in the hunt do we think are actually going to break into the playoffs? We'll go kind of down list by list to see which teams we got. Don't smile at me like that.
Which team you think I'm going to say, James?
Don't smile. Can I get to them first? Where are they?
No, go ahead.
They're second. You're not sliding. You didn't want to lead off with them. Let me talk about the division leaders first. The NFC North, we got the Packers at 8-3. The NFC South, we have the world champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 7-3. NFC East, Cowboys 7-3. NFC West, the Cardinals start hanging on at 9-2, the best record in football actually right now. The wild cards right now, Vikings, Saints, Rams. So we're going to talk about the teams in the hunt. First off, we'll talk about the 49ers. And Kyle, I want to start with you talking about the Niners because you had a big board. I was the guest on the big board preseason.
Right.
They were picked to win the NFC West, and we shot them down to 4, so they got no chance of winning the division. But they're in the hunt right now for a while.
Yeah, I mean they started 1-3, and we're sitting on our high legendary.
Absolutely,
we were right, but they're back to 5-5. They have half a game up on the Eagles. It's still too early for all these in the hunt teams. It's half a game. Tied with the Vikings and the Saints, who just, I guess, get tiebreakers over them in the wild card. And they have the best shot, actually, to make the playoffs of any of these teams in the hunt, and actually a better shot per 538 than beating the Saints and getting in over these Saints. The Saints have a 33% shot. The 49ers have a 49% shot to make the playoffs. They've been playing well. I'm scared, though. I still don't think this team is good. They still have to play the Bengals, the Titans, the Rams, and the Seahawks. All away games, all on the road. I mean, we'll see about this team. I don't think they should really have a higher shot than the Saints. I kind of see it 50-50 at this point if we're just talking those two teams. But they still are turning heads because they started 1-3. We thought they were out.
Do they still start? They still start Jimmy Garoppolo, right?
Right.
He's still their starter.
Right.
Yeah.
True.
They're so doomed. Like you're just doomed. Like I don't.
Can I call them a little bit impressive though for this juggling of quarterback? They got
juggling
5 wins.
and juggling of running backs.
Yeah.
They have a different running
500.
back every week.
I mean, that's nothing new to them, though.
Exactly.
That's just their scheme. But look, they're a solid team. They're going to be in a lot of games because of their running game and their defense. And we'll talk about. A lot of the teams who are hoping to get in, the ones who I'm going to back and think that they have a chance of making it are teams that predicated on the run because most of them, admittedly, don't have a very good like elite quarterback.
That's
what it takes.
Spot. Right, you're 3-0 in the spot. And if there's a team that can hang their hat on, even out of the teams we'll get to, it's the 49ers who, let's not forget, went to the Super Bowl when their quarterback attempted 10 passes in the NFC Championship game or something stupid like that. Matt, you got the 49ers 7th in DVOA, which suggests they're going to get in, right?
I think the Rams win was a real statement win. People were really slagging off Kyle Shanahan. They were 2-4, then 3-5. They played the Rams. No one thought they were going to win. They dominate the Rams. They come back, dominate the Jaguars, which most teams have, but still, that's what you got to do. And in a year where there's really no good NFL team, good coaching can just kind of get you there.
That was my next point, man.
And they have the tiebreaker over the Eagles. They play Minnesota coming up. That could get them another really big tiebreaker as well. So I think their playoff shot at 49% makes a lot of sense, and I agree with it.
I mean, that Kyle Shanahan point is where I was going to go next. Right. Perfect. Like, could we not just overlook the fact that they have maybe the best offensive mind in the NFL? Like, yes, they have Jimmy Garoppolo as their quarterback. Yes, they have a revolving door of receiver. But you know who makes it work? Someone as dynamic as, Kyle Shanahan. And getting, someone like George Kittle back in the rotation, healthy on a game-to-game basis. Like, the fact that they have 5 wins makes me very encouraged about this 49ers team. I was with you, Kyle. Like, I was not ready to put them as a playoff team. They keep playing like this, they're going to find their way in.
Right. I mean, Deebo Samuel is now turned into a superstar. Possibly.
Running back, too. He's like Cordero, man. They just give him the ball any which way.
I would put it out there. He'll be an all-pro this year.
Yeah.
100% a pro bowler. On the coach thing, though, I mean, the team they're chasing, the team in the last wild card spot right now, the team 538 thinks has a worse shot than them, has Sean Payton at the coach. So that's a good coach, too. I mean, I agree Shanahan is a better coach. Maybe they have a little more talent than the Saints, but I don't think either of these teams are, talented enough to take a game in the playoffs.
Trevor Siemian is a massive drop-off, right, even compared to Garoppolo. Like, that's why I'm really fading the Saints. Like, I just don't think they have
I don't
want to
hear the name Trevor Siemian.
Right.
I don't want to hear
Don't bring him up.
Don't bring him
and
up.
Alvin Kamara is just not playing. He's not playing this week either. Got ruled out today, so that's tough.
What's the fight for over there? All right, man. You want to get to your team? You've been staring at the script like half the time we talk about the 49ers. All three of y'all, the Eagles are really 5-6.
They're coming back strong,
Eagles are
man.
really 5-6.
And you consider, like, they could even have a better record. We talk about the 49ers, how the 49ers are in the tiebreaker. Right. That's like, I've never seen a team play a better game and lose. That's actually maybe not true, but it's one of them. It's up there.
Easiest remaining strength of schedule in the league. You guys play the Giants twice. You guys play the Washington football team.
Jets.
You guys play the Jets. My goodness.
Cowboys.
40% shot to make the playoffs per 538.
Also higher than the Saints.
Right.
Which is crazy.
12th in DVOA as well. Like, I had your win projection total at 6-7 games coming into the season.
Right.
And you're right there. You're at 5-6, half a game out of a wild card spot. All of you already got wide eyes because no one expected this, right? No one. I did not. Stop it.
I bet him to win the NFC East.
I bet him to make the playoffs.
Your bet's looking better than mine, but
I mean, they still. Here's what I will say: it's really a shame that they let those games early in the year get away from them, because they could feasibly, if they just win some of the easy ones early in the year, you put yourself in contention for the division. That's obviously out the window now. The Cowboys sitting at 7-3, clearly the best team in the division. But I think
a lot of football left.
I think they really have turned it around, though. Like, they're starting to trend in the right direction as opposed to the wrong one.
4-1 since Nick Sirianni did this in a press conference. Yeah. 4-1 since he was blooming flowers.
He planted the seeds. I mean, you know how flowers, they take time to grow.
Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable.
You got to get him on the pod. He's like, have you ever listened to him talk? He's like an eccentric talker. Like, I don't know.
He did this on national TV. Yeah. He did this.
So, the Eagles, I'm happy. It's really. I really thought this was going to be a miserable, dull year. Sirianni did not know what he was doing in the beginning of the year. He's learned as a coach how to play. And I don't buy into their defensive mindset because it's basically let the quarterback beat you. But 5 of the next 6 quarterbacks they play are terrible.
Yeah, won't beat you.
They're terrible. So we're set. We're going to go 9-8, maybe even 10-7.
He's fired.
That'll get us to the playoffs.
Yeah, he's fired up.
This percentage should be higher. Our schedule's so easy.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, that's a key part. There's a reason they have the easiest schedule remaining in the league, too. Mm-hmm. Because there's 5 teams currently in playoff positions that we've already played. And we lost to 4 of them. The only win we got was the Saints, right? So, I mean, they don't even have to get on a plane the rest of the season. You got to go to New York twice. You got to go to Washington once.
Bus rides.
I mean, so I think to answer your question, you opened the segment with which in the hunt team is going to break into the playoffs. I'm going to take the Eagles. I think they take the Saints spot. And I think the Vikings and 49ers will be in there too. One of those teams will make it. I would lean Vikings, but I truly think, and this isn't just a fan speak. I mean, we just ran through all the numbers, right? So, I mean, I can't see us losing. What do we got? 7 games left?
I think
six games left. There's 4 of them I can't see us losing, to be honest with you.
And 2 Giants, 2 Washington, 1 Jets, that's 5.
Right.
So you go 4-1, lose to the Cowboys, that's 9-8.
And here's the thing. If it was on Jalen Hurts to get you guys in the playoffs, I would bet against it. He doesn't have to put a team on the back to get you guys down this stretch of games to the playoffs. You just don't gotta lose them. Just don't Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts, Jonathan Gannon, it's all just don't lose the game. Like these games should win themselves if we stick to our game plan. And the biggest thing is Miles Sanders came back and finally took y'all 11 games and playing him in the offense on
he
all
was
cylinders.
Hurt. He was hurt.
On all cylinders.
Even
before he was hurt. Don't do that. Even before he was hurt. You found the running game while he was out. But I was worried about when he came back in, all of a sudden not going to give it to him.
Right.
And you did that. You continued to give it to him. And look what happened.
I mean,
again, this was against the #1 run defense in football too. So they found a system that's gonna definitely work for the rest of the regular season offensively.
The O-line's way better than I thought they were, especially even Mailata now, who I was not skeptical about because anyone that big, I mean, you're gonna have a couple good games, but now he's making plays almost every down. But the difference in Miles Sanders is Jake talked about, we lost to the 49ers and we played well. Well, the coaching was horrible.
Yep.
That's the reason we did a Philly special on 4th and goal at the 1. Not to mention 3 of the 4 plays were pass plays. I mean, so I think Sirianni's kind of hit his groove. He was a first-year NFL coach. He's hit his groove now. We're moving forward, and you see the play calling over the past, it's been a month now. This isn't a flash in the pan. This is really what the Eagles are, and I think they can continue it going.
Now, don't get cocky now.
No.
Don't get cocky now. You still got to win these last 5, 6 games. This is a Jets team who's caught some people lacking.
Yeah.
There's a Giants team who's caught some people lacking.
I just want to say
these are teams who've caught people lacking.
The Eagles have never lost to the Jets. Ever.
These are teams
that's never
That's
happened.
cool. That's cool. But these are teams that have already caught teams lacking earlier in the season. Jets team who just beat a good team, or Giants team who beat the Saints on the road earlier in the season.
You're right.
Full healthy Saints.
I pray to God they start Flacco. It would be the funniest thing of all time if they start Joe Flacco against the Eagles.
Wilson's already ruled in the starter now. If he
what else are they going to do?
But I'll take that way over Bengals, Titans, Rams, and Seahawks on the road. I'll take the Eagles.
I just want to do a Jets joke. So the Jets lost their quarterback injury. They traded a draft pick for a guy that they had on the team last year. That was unvaccinated. And then he infects White. So now him and White are both out on Sunday because they said they lost a draft pick and they subjected Mike White to injury or to COVID because of their stupidity. Classic Jets.
That sounds on par.
Classic Jets. We can touch on the last 3. I want to give this next team a little bit of time, though. 5-6 Carolina Panthers, who, yes, are coming off a loss. Matt's shaking his head.
I'm shaking my head.
Jake is also shaking his head.
I didn't actually, but I just want to
We all
make
got
it
it.
known
You
that
did it.
internally I was shaking my head.
I've never seen someone not shake their head and announce I'm shaking my head too.
Internally.
But his head not moving.
I agreed with Matt.
You agree with Matt.
And
Do
I
you
wanted
give-
to
give
shake
the
my
Pan-
head, but the moment had passed.
You give the Panthers absolutely no chance.
Not no chance. Adding Cam Newton,
There's a battery pack there.
is
There's
a
some
step
kind of spark,
forward.
right? There's some kind of spark.
it's a step forward, but I'm not
McCaffrey
sold.
coming back.
McCaffrey
McCaffrey,
coming back.
obviously
Step
McCaffrey,
forward.
but I still am in the same spot with Cam that I was when he was in New England. I just don't know if he's got it with the arm. Now
I got to see him throw a touchdown and not a 2-yard out route to the pylon. I need to see
he's
him
good in the red zone.
throw the ball down the field and finish it with a touchdown.
Actually, they should probably just have Darnold and then once they get to the 20, put in Cam. That would be way better than whatever they're running now.
Right.
Like what the Saints did with
But the
Drew
thing
Brees
is,
inside.
Taysom Hill, yeah.
Then Cam only gets in the game 2 times because this team doesn't even get to the 20. That's the thing about the Panthers for me right now. I mean, you got to jump 2 teams. We lock in the Rams to a wild card. I think we all agree on that.
Yeah.
So there's only 2 spots even more above that. You got to jump 4 teams.
They
for
already
2
lost
spots.
the tiebreaker to Washington and the Eagles. They got to play the Bucks twice. They got to play Buffalo on the road.
Right.
They'll win their next 2 games. People will get excited because they played Miami and Atlanta. And
Miami's on a roll, though. I mean, I'm not even sure that's a lock-in game. That's 3 straight for Miami. So I don't know. I think there's too much for the Panthers to overcome this season.
There's too much. All right. Real quick, yes or no, Washington football team?
No. Hell no.
Playing well on the longest win streak, tied with the Eagles in the NFC.
If
which
we
is
can't justify
only
the Panthers,
2 games,
I don't see how we can justify Washington
Right.
football team
Exactly.
or the
Yes.
Falcons in that.
Yeah,
Falcons do have the third easiest remaining strength of schedule, but they do have lost tiebreakers to Washington and Philly last place in DVOA.
They also have 4 23-plus point losses, which
That's
is
just a
twice as many as the Lions.
Any stat you're doubling the Lions bad.
Their negative point differential is negative 110. The Lions is negative 113. The Falcons are horrible.
Yeah, they're terrible.
They're really terrible.
But it's funny because they were in a wild card spot 2 weeks ago.
I
actually think we just talked about Carolina and Washington. I give the Falcons the best shot out of any of them at a shot to do it. I don't think they do it though.
I don't see any of them doing it.
Real quick, let's put a bow on it. Which in the HUD teams break the playoffs for me? That is the Eagles are going to take the Saints spot, and that's it. I see the Vikings and Rams.
I agree.
Eagles and 49ers jump the Saints and Vikings.
I thought you were going to go there.
I'm not going to do it. The 49ers. I'm not going to do it. I can't see it. I can't see
You can't put the Niners in, or you can't put the Eagles in?
I can't put the Eagles in.
You can't get ready for a 2 versus 7 Eagles-Bucks playoff game?
I would actually love to see that. That would actually be awesome.
You don't want to see us.
I do want to see y'all. There's nothing about y'all.
It would be great for the pod.
I would rather see y'all. I'd rather see y'all.
podcast.
I'd rather see y'all than the Saints. I'd rather see y'all than the 49ers. Yeah, I'd rather see y'all than all of them.
You'd rather see
Sleeping.
us than Trevor Simeon?
Sleeping.
Trevor Simeon beat us already. Like, like depending on how we
played
play
a
next week.
competitive game against you guys before we
The
found
Saints
our
defense
offense.
always plays like a really competitive game.
Well, it's
against
divisional.
us.
Right.
It's
All right, but
divisional.
let's wrap it up. Any of these teams getting in for you?
Yeah, 49ers and Saints. I see.
Gotcha.
I see.
So Vikings out.
Yeah, I'm taking
Really?
the Vikings out.
Okay.
Let's move over to the AFC because we ain't on any of the AFC teams. We'll go with very quickly. In the hunt teams, Steelers, Colts, Browns, Raiders, and Broncos. The division leaders, the Ravens, Titans, Pats, and Chiefs. So real quick, the 5-4-1 Steelers, second hardest remaining strength of schedule in the league with 4 division games left. And they went on a string of like 3 or 4 weeks where they were winning these fugazi games, and it was making me really mad. They finally came back down to earth with a tie against the Jets.
They almost won another Fugazi game on Sunday night.
Yeah, it's just real fugazi wins. But now 5-4-1, back in the hunt.
Their schedule's
They're back in the
brutal.
hunt, but again, like your quarterback is going to take you as far as you're going to go. For like not 90% of the teams, if you're the Titans, maybe not. Maybe you can get around it because you have a ton of weapons and Derrick Henry if he comes back. But an old Big Ben is just not and like beyond that, Mason Rudolph isn't doing it either. Like they have a really good defense. They have some weapons on the outside, and I really like it, Najee Harris. But I'm gonna have to say no because their division is so tough.
Right.
Every game they have left is against a team that's 500 or better.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal.
I mean, you got the Ravens twice. You got at the Bengals, like home against the Browns. And James, you said they tied the Jets. No, they tied the Lions. I mean, that's come on now. At home in Heinz Field, the weather was iffy for like the first quarter and a half. Still no excuses. I mean, I think it's tough. I think at most, this was a division we were looking at a couple weeks ago where we're like the AFC North could get 2 wild cards. But then you realize none of them have played each other yet.
Yeah.
So at most, I think we see one AFC North team get in. But now that some other teams are playing better that we're going to get on, there might not even be a wild card AFC North team. And if there is one, I'm not taking the Steelers.
No, I definitely see a wild card AFC North team, but I see the AFC.
But if they split these games, if they just go 500, they all have the same
you
records.
could let the Colts sneak in.
Exactly.
I don't know.
So
I think at
the
least
Colts
one
could
of them maybe.
the
Well,
Colts could easily sneak in.
Here's what I do see in the AFC. I see no runaway team in the AFC. So everybody is kind of conjoining into that upper middle class area in the AFC. You know how many teams you have to jump? At least 4 or 5 legitimate wild card teams you have to jump. And the Steelers don't have the firepower to do that right now. The Steelers do not have enough in their tank to do that. Most years, Mike Tomlin will never finish with a losing record. We know this, right? So most years, 8-8 or 9-8 would get you in the playoffs.
8-1, baby.
Yeah,
He's
and
done it.
this year in the AFC, I don't see 8-8-1 getting you to the playoffs.
I agree
I
with you.
don't see it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Are we moving? I thought you had something to say about the Steelers. That's why
No,
was
I
waiting.
keep chuckling. The thing is, I look at so we have like the division leaders and everything listed on our script, and it makes me chuckle every time I look up and see the Patriots are 7-4. Like
ridiculous,
what
right?
The heck? Why they can't keep getting away with this?
Ridiculous, right? No, Bill Belichick that's the boogeyman on defense.
Who let them be 7-4?
That's the boogeyman on defense. And I revert back a couple of weeks ago to Matt saying to all Patriots fans, don't look for like a deep playoff run. Just be happy that Mac Jones is getting better. I think the sites could look for maybe not a deep playoff run, but like we're 7-4. We're above the Bills in the AFC East. We can look towards building in the playoffs.
The number one seed in the AFC has lost to the Jets, and who did they lose to last week? They got killed by.
Didn't they get beat by the
Dolphins?
I actually don't know. I don't know.
Wait.
Houston.
Yeah.
Right.
So the AFC is wide open. I think that's for the taking for Kansas City, the team that you let back rise from the dead when they could have buried him. But there are some marketers who are like, ooh, imagine a Belichick versus Brady Super Bowl right now. And it's not. It wouldn't be the most shocking thing in the world. It's not going to happen.
I'd be pretty close to it.
But Colts are next on the list. I think the Colts are really good. I think they found their identity. Jonathan Taylor's having an absolutely incredible breakout season. He's getting MVP attention.
Right.
He is leading the league in rushing, leading the league in yards per carry. The Colts don't turn the ball over, despite the fact that they had a Carson Wentz, which is pretty wild. Reich's done a good job coaching, and they haven't lost in regulation since September.
Yeah.
They're on a roll. I think they steal probably the Bengals slot. Yeah. I agree with you. There won't be an AFC North wildcard team.
Right.
That was
my point. Yeah. And talking about that, 538, which we were referencing before, the Colts have a 57% shot to get in on 538. The Bengals only have a 49% shot, so that's the kind of the swap they're making, and I kind of agree with it, right? I mean, they're the hottest team out of any of these teams right now, 3-game winning streak. If you would have asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have kicked the Pats out, right? I would have went Bengals, Colts, Chargers, and just to touch on the Chargers schedule is ridiculously easy. It's really hard for me to pull them out of a wild card right now, especially the Bills. So I think it's that Bengals spot up for grabs, and if I want to go with my heart, it's like the Pats are out and the Colts are in because I think those are the best teams. But the Pats have been proving me wrong, so I think I'm throwing the Colts in over the Bengals.
Yeah, I really do. I like the Colts. The only thing with me is it's just a big mountain to climb. Like, are they better? Will they end better than the Bills? I actually don't have the Bills schedule in front of me, but in terms of like team skill, the Bills haven't been that impressive.
No, but I do think at some point
DVOA has them as the biggest variant team since the 2005 49ers. So consistency week to week is so askew for Buffalo. They're the most inconsistent team since 2005.
I do think they edge out the AFC East at the end of the season over the Patriots, which then puts the Patriots and Colts.
You would think
back
so,
in.
yeah.
Like you would think. Like I won't be surprised if it doesn't happen.
You know
but
what?
I'm still banking on they're only a half a game back of that AFC spot, that top AFC spot with the Patriots. I have to assume they're gonna get down.
The Patriots play the Titans next week for the 1 seed in the AFC.
I
don't think we're really. They're number 3 in DVOA. And it's Bill frickin' Belichick.
Yeah.
And we mentioned Kyle Shanahan. Like, same applies to Bill Belichick. When there's just scrum, there's not one team that is so much better than the other. It allows for guys like Belichick to outcoach and earn his team wins. Like Sirianni used to give wins away, as we talked about earlier. Belichick does the opposite. So
right. Well, getting it back to the Colts. Kyle talked about probably the hottest team, one of the highest teams in the AFC. The only in the hunt team on a winning streak, right? 3 games, 8th in DVOA, and there's something to be said about playing your best ball like at a good time, going down the stretch. And I think the Colts are starting to play their best football right now. Offense starting to come together. We talked about Jonathan Taylor the last couple of weeks breaking out, defense shoring things up too. And that's great because the best team, or presumably the best team all season in their division, lost their best player. This is the best time to start playing your best football. So that 57% chance to make the playoffs starts to skyrocket. We'll move down the list a little bit. The Browns are also 6-5. Look to start falling off a cliff. Looks like they're hanging on to something a little bit in that AFC North. We've already said you don't think an AFC North team gets in at all. So this will wipe out the Browns already.
No, so we talked about the Steelers having the second hardest schedule remaining. The Browns is the hardest. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Cincy and the Ravens are like right after that. Like they all still have to play each other, and none of them have a losing record. Actually, in fact, all of them have a winning record.
That sucks.
My thing is now, like, because the way we have our script, it looks like you look at the first place teams and you're like, they're in, because that's kind of how it was in the NFC. but the Pats are really only a game up of being out,
Yeah.
like the Colts, or like one game back. of the
Or
Pats.
like three or four of these
so now
teams.
I still
Yeah.
think the Pats can get caught. The thing is, the Pats have the Jaguars and the Dolphins the last 2 weeks of the season, and I'll trust Bill Belichick playing for
Yeah,
his
he's
life
gonna clean
against
them
those
up.
two teams. But
Jacksonville will be already
yeah,
planning their
I
vacation.
mean, I really think like if one team squeaks in, it's so hard to pick. It would be the Bengals. The Browns have a shot. They all do,
Mhm.
but they all have to like.
But the Browns, the Browns' road to get there is so tough, and I think they have the opposite like situation than the Eagles do, where their quarterbacks got to win them these games.
Yeah.
Like, the Baker's got to go down and win them to stretch of these games. 2 of their like 4 like games left, or 4 division games left. Twice of them are going to be
The fact
against
that they
the
barely
Ravens at the
eked out a
Steelers
win
Bengals.
over Detroit makes they're done.
Well, I
It's-
mean-
they're done. Like the Steelers, they didn't have Roethlisberger. It was terrible weather, and the Steelers always lose stupid games. But I don't think they're gonna make the playoffs either. That had to be a get it right game for the Browns. They got blown out by the Patriots, embarrassed by them. Then they come back. Okay, easy game, winless Lions. Boom, they eke out a 3-point win at home.
And Baker's been playing with what? Did he have a torn labrum?
Yeah.
Or, like, oh my gosh. So even without it, like he's another guy. Like there's so many. I'd say really there's probably only a handful of quarterbacks that like absent of a really good team, any team outside of those 8 or 10 are not winning. The Browns are outside of that. They literally are strong in a lot of areas you want to be. Great pass rush, great running attack, probably like 2 of the most skilled running backs.
I don't
in the
think we
league,
ever
and it
saw
just-
the Browns hit their like potential this season. I
No.
don't think we ever saw the Browns hit their ceiling. And if I never see you hit your ceiling, it's hard for me to imagine you in the playoffs in a
They have
tight
a
race
shot
like
too.
this.
They have a shot too. Baker's back, getting healthier by the week. Nick Chubb is now back, coming off of some good performances. They have a shot
If
too.
you get Kareem Hunt back at any chance, it might be an addition by subtraction for Odell Beckham. Like who knows?
There's the thing. All of these AFC North teams, one of them could go. They all play each other like 4 times. One of them could go in 4-0 sweep, and one of them could 3-1. But it would be stupid of us here, as like people trying to analyze the game, especially by the stats, to think that's a probable outcome and really like stick a hard point on that. And if you're
I
going to
agree.
pick one, the Browns are at the bottom of the standings of all of them right now.
I agree. Other teams who have a chance or are in the hunt: the Raiders at 5-5, the Broncos also at 5-5. That AFC West division also is going to come down to a crazy tight race. All right, so we'll wrap it up in a bow again. Which AFC teams in the hunt do you see making it in?
I like the Bengals. They beat the Ravens. We'll keep them in there. I'm going to kick out. I'm just not sold on the Bills' offense. I don't know. It'd be a
Wow.
big shocker, but like they're not moving the ball as efficiently as they were last year. Josh Allen, they're not some high-flying like Dallas equivalent offense. They're just not that anymore. So I'm going to put the Colts in and then keep the Chargers in. So we go Bengals, Colts, and Chargers as the wild card teams.
Wow, Kyle.
I think the Colts just all the logic says the Colts take the Bengals spot, and it's really hard for me to go against it sometimes. I know I lean with my heart a lot. If I were to lean with my heart, the Pats come out, the Colts just jump in, the Bills win the division, Bengals keep their spot at
Bengals
the
kind
wild
of
card.
crushed the Ravens.
That's the
though.
thing.
Did they
I-
play again?
I
Also
still,
lost to the Jets,
like,
though.
I
Yeah, like
still-
we think.
yeah, so did Tennessee. The Jets are just pulling duck.
That's
off
what I'm
Eagles,
saying.
bro.
That's
Right.
what I'm
Right.
trying to say that to y'all. Eagles fans are they've already caused
They're
people
gonna-
slipping.
if I
They've
gotta-
already caused people slipping.
If I gotta stamp it down, the Colts are taking the Bengals spot.
Matt,
Colts take Bengals spot. Pats win the division over the Bills.
my goodness.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of with you, Kyle. Like, I think stuff kind of regresses back to the mean and starts to make sense a little bit. We've had like a lot of a lot of stuff.
I'm just
jumping around.
happy. we
There
all
is
kept the
not a good
Chargers in.
NFL team this year, is my theory.
I hear
Wow.
you, but I do think the Bills
Not a great-
overtake the Pats for the AFC East. But the Pats are good enough to make the playoffs. I think they overtake and kick out the Bengals, and the Colts also kick out the Bengals. I'm keeping the Chargers
think-
in too.
Yeah, this thing about the Chargers, like, because we didn't touch on them once I mentioned it, their schedule actually is really easy.
Mm.
I
That's-
mean,
that's good for
yeah,
them.
like I saw it
I
last
can-
week.
I-
It's so hard to see them anything less than 10 wins.
I can see the Pats and Colts jockeying for that number 1 wild card spot, so I'm not sure who's exactly going to get it. But my 3 are Colts, Pats, and Chargers for sure.
Right.
Chargers, Broncos, Bengals, Giants, Chiefs, Texans, Broncos, Raiders.
Yeah.
Not a terrible one. Not a terrible
Two
schedule.
off the Broncos. You take at least one of those. You beat the
Texans, you beat the
Texans,
Giants.
You beat the Giants. You probably maybe beat the Raiders if it matters. And then
Mhm.
like KC's a toss up.
So we'll see. We'll see. All right, transition, because we said it's the best time of the year. Best time of sports year means a whole bunch of different sports to talk about. So we'll transition to the NBA, where a lot of players we call our script flippers, who started the season maybe not off the right foot, we was ready to put them on the scrub list. This first player,
they were close.
this first player has been on the scrub list for a while, but they're starting to change it around, flip the script, as we say. So for the first one, I think this is a great place to start, especially for me and you, Jake. We can make fun of this player a lot, but Kristaps Porzingis, man, like has always been, not always, but has been billed for the past couple of years as a very disappointing player. Had all the promise in the world coming into the league, the unicorn as people were billed, and it's just kind of always been disappointing. Last playoffs, 13 points per game, 5.4 rebounds, 1.3 assists on 47% from the field. Since returning from injury this year, only has 9-game sample size, but averaging 23, almost 24 points a game, 8.9 rebounds, 2.3 assists on 51 from the field. So, like, greener pasture is starting to turn around. And, man, if you're Luka Doncic and you're Mark Cuban, like, that's got to be a breath of fresh air, right? Like, thank you. We're getting some kind of good level production from KP.
Right. And Jalen Brunson, who but
Brunson's
we're talking
been
about
awesome.
KP.
Yeah,
he's awesome.
But can it continue for KP? Is this sustainable?
And this is the reason why. So we talked about those last 9 games. Luka missed a couple. So you would expect that to mean it's inflated stats, but actually the opposite is true. If you look at this season that we've seen and all of last season, Kristaps Porzingis' production is so like not correlated with how Luka Doncic being on the court. I mean, he does the same thing. I know this from a fantasy perspective, just playing DFS every night. People will just get away from Porzingis all the time because they got Doncic. It doesn't matter. Porzingis is arguably better when Doncic is on the court than off it because the numbers are just the same.
Yeah, well, I was looking up some of like the lineup stats, and if I was a Mavericks fan, it's scary stuff because I know that they kind of doubled down on their commitment to Kristaps. There was rumors that they were going to try and move him or that he was unhappy, and they seem to have worked everything out. So when you go on to like the 2-man lineup group in the NBA stats, the Doncic KP duo has a net rating of minus 10.5. In 206 minutes of playing time this year. That's not good.
That's just not many games, though. That's the only thing.
Right. So Kristaps missed extended amount of time. Then when
Luka's
he came
been
back,
out.
Luka missed. So you're right. And the early stretch of the season was not good for them.
Mm-hmm.
And they also had a little bit of a rough stretch, obviously, as you said, without Luka. But like, you look at either of them. I went down all the 2-man groups for the Mavs. There's only one group with either Luka or KP involved that has a plus net rating.
Right.
And that is Luka and Brunson. I think it was like plus 2.7. To be honest, I think that's probably a little bit more of like we're playing good teams. I'm always playing with the starters, and the starters are getting beat up on.
Yeah.
So to me, it's a little concerning, and I don't know if it can continue.
I mean, they're 10-7 on those numbers though, 4th in the West.
Correct.
I mean, so I think getting back to Kristaps, we're seeing him back in form to where we thought he was going to be when he left the Knicks. And that's just a huge plus to all of this, right? This is something we said going into the season. I forget who said it, and then I backed it up, is that Kristaps finally got a full offseason.
Mm-hmm.
He hadn't had that in his career.
And health
he was
is wealth
always
for KP.
banged up. Yeah, he was
wealth.
always banged up doing something. He got a full offseason this summer, which is showing dividends in the season so far, and I think it's going to continue.
I was kind of going to go on that next point. I completely agree with you, man. Like, I think, like, for KP, in sports, your best ability is availability. And for KP, you never establish a rhythm if you can never stay on the court for an extended period of time. And it's always been there. Like, I don't think everyone's so disappointed because no one can see him play, and it doesn't look like it's there. It looks like he lost it. Like, there's just, why is KP not playing well? Why is he not meshing with Luka, who hasn't been on the court? Like, get on the court for an extended period of time. I think we start to see a good Kristaps Porzingis.
I'm pessimistic about the Mavericks. I think their coach is horrendous. He wasted years of Giannis and Middleton. The kid leaves. Budenholzer makes them a perennial 1 seed, and then they win the chip. They have a negative point differential this year. None of their wins are against really good teams. They beat the Raptors, the Rockets. They split with the Clippers in a back-to-back. But other than that, they've really beaten nobody. It's not working. Cuban is wasting Luka Doncic, and I think he's going to want to leave if it keeps up.
Yeah. Matt said that, he was like, like he said that, he was like,
honestly, like, and it is probably a hot take, but I've said it on here before. I'm not sure Luka's play style is conducive to winning. Like, I just don't. It's the same thing we talk about with Russell Westbrook. With the, when you're upwards of 39, 40% usage rate, even if it's the playoffs, it's just like that's too easy to shut down for a team. And when that's how you play,
But it's out of necessity. I would say it's out of
Not with-
for Russ. It
not
wasn't
this
out of
year, it's
necessity. Russ drove players away doing that. I think Luka, it's always been out of necessity.
I mean, you've got Brunson who can
I think
create.
it's more of a Harden high usage than it is
Yes.
a Westbrook high usage, and Harden won.
Well,
Regularly,
It did
he
until
was
it mattered.
perennially a top seed.
I don't think it's Harden high usage because Harden high usage is till the end of the shot clock, and your next pass it's going up. Like it's a
I
one
mean,
pass
like,
away, one.
I mean,
shot
like
away kind of thing.
efficiency wise, Westbrook's always been inefficient. Luka's been efficient.
Right, I hear you. Let's move on. That's a whole other conversation. We can get on another day.
Yeah,
I liked where that was going. I liked where that was going. But we,
flame up Luka.
yeah. We just don't have time for that one. This next one, this guy needs his just due from us because we got on him a lot, and that's Paul George, Pandemic P, who I think it's officially gone. I think I've said it a couple of times that it's gone.
You held on for too long. I remember
'Cause
doing
it
those
was
playoff
funny.
ones, bro.
It was
What
funny.
about the flip right here, though?
It's
'Cause I was the only one back in Paul George in the playoffs. I'm actually gonna
it's definitely
He
it's
had a
definitely
good playoffs
flipped.
last
He
year.
had a
Yeah, I'm
gr-
about
no,
to-
had
He
a
led-
great playoffs last
He
year.
led the Los Angeles Clippers to the Western Conference
No
Finals.
Kawhi.
You guys are finally
Kawhi
realizing.
couldn't
No
do that.
Kawhi.
Didn't
Chris
realize
I'm
that.
not
Paul
finally
couldn't do
realizing
that.
anything. I'm not finally realizing anything. I know what I saw in the bubble. I know what I saw in the last
The
season.
Yeah, but
Clippers made the
last year-
conference finals. That had never happened before, ever.
And it's all for Paul George. His
And they beat the 1 seed to do it
Let's-
when
let's-
Kawhi got hurt.
let's talk
That's
about-
when Paul George. We're talking about script flipping. That's where the script flip for me.
right. Let's talk about the skeletons in the closet. The 2021 bubble playoffs: 20 points a game, 6 rebounds, about 4 assists on under 40% from the field, 39.8 from
hitting
the
the
field.
side of backboard.
It was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. But I watched him last year, like Matt said, like Kyle's alluding to, beat the number 1 seed in the playoffs, go to the Western Conference Finals, and honestly give the Suns a great series too. Didn't play great every game, but gave the Suns, especially games 2 and 3, gave the Suns a heck of a game and nearly pulled that one out too. So I'm giving Paul George all his credit. I just know what I saw, man. I just know what I saw.
Kyle, but so just to make things clear, that is a Mickey Mouse Western Conference Final. According to you,
It's a
that's
Mickey
what you-
Mouse chip.
But the Western Finals, that they are.
Oh no,
excluded from that?
Pandemic P was bad in that. My point was that last year during the playoffs, and I think it was because they were playing the Suns, and James didn't want to give it up. But you guys also agreed.
Oh,
I
right,
was
it
saying that
last
like
year. No,
Paul
no.
George is hooping, like Paul George is about to do this, bro.
No, he did-
And
he-
every week, like
He was
3
playing my team in the Western Conference
No,
Finals.
but even
man.
after that, or before that too, when they played the Jazz, like 3 straight weeks, I'm telling you guys, I'm like, yo, Paul George is starting to hoop, and then you wouldn't get off the Pandemic P. But we're about to flip. It's fine.
I feel like
Give Paul George his flowers, and then I'll
I
come
feel
in.
like I gave Paul George his flowers in the playoffs last year.
Y'all did.
I
bro.
feel like
I
I
remember
feel like
being
I was coming
anti-Paul
around.
George.
I don't think I held.
He
I
was-
might have held on to it.
Because I held 2 points all last playoffs. So it was the Sixers, which I was really wrong about, and it was Paul George is way better than everyone was talking about. and I was
maybe
right
this is
about.
what I think I was just very quick. Like when he had a bad game in the playoffs, I think I was just very quick to jump back on him. But I was giving him
Well,
his
no,
just due.
it's a meme. Like, so you have
Little
to.
It's just too
you
easy.
have
It's just
to.
A little bit.
easy to
Let's
back
give
on
him his
the train.
flowers now. Let's
Yeah,
give him
yeah,
his
go
flowers.
ahead. Go ahead.
Absolutely.
Oh no,
absolutely.
let me go last.
Okay.
He's not getting flowers from me anymore.
I already gave him his flowers. I'm
So
doing it right now.
he's having his best year in LA this year without Kawhi Leonard. In terms of since he's came to the Clippers, he has a high in points, 26.4, rebound 7.8 this year, and assists per game 5.3. He's also putting up the most shots on the team, 22.
Career high 5.3.
Yeah. So this is all without Kawhi, and they're 10-8, I believe, 5th in the Western Conference. They've been, and the staggering part is that even without Kawhi, they are the second highest defensive rating in the league this year, 7th highest net rating. So they've been good. I haven't taken a full look back through their schedule, but it's been a lot because Paul George is leading them.
Yeah, I'm nervous about this, to be honest. The difference is we saw it last year in the bubble. He was able to come in and be productive.
2 years ago in the bubble.
Not bubble. No, not fault. Last year in the playoffs,
Yeah.
Paul George was able to come in and be very productive. We were talking about wiping the game. Right now is what concerns me, though. He's had 5 games in November with over 5 turnovers after none previously to start the season. 2 of those games he had 8 turnovers. They're starting to lose now. They've lost 3 out of their last 4. And arguably, I think their team, and he's obviously the face right now, I get it. But I think arguably their team is better than it was even in the playoffs last year. We're seeing Reggie Jackson, who had a great playoffs, continuing on that same path, but now he has a backup point guard, Eric Bledsoe, that is playing amazing. Luke Kennard's had some really big games. Terrence Mann's had really big games. Batum is doing more now because he has to. When last year the identity was, remember, they went small in the playoffs.
Mhm.
So now they have Batum and Zubac in that are playing better than that, right? No Marcus Morris, I get it. That's a little different. Or was it Markieff Morris? I
think it's
One
Marcus.
of them.
Keith.
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 But the thing is now that like they're starting to lose games now. They're 10-8. They started really hot. I'm a little nervous about Paul George just because it's been more inconsistent than me.
He's also
than it
been
has
more
been before.
inefficient than he has in the
Yeah,
past, and a
yeah.
lot of that's because he's taking the load from Kawhi.
Right. But even when he did that in the playoffs, we were seeing 40-point nights all the time, 30 points at least. He has a game in November where he didn't even get to 20, and he has another one where he had 20, another one where he had 21. It's tough. I just want to finish real quick. I think Paul George is fine. Great player, has the capabilities to lead this team. We've seen it not even 5 months ago. But I think we have seen a little drop off from that, and not having Kawhi being the man there. 10-8. I mean, this team's good enough to be better than 10-8 right now. And I just see a little inconsistency from Paul George that I'm not used to.
Yeah, but I get that this team is 10-8. There's still a void of Kawhi. Like, no matter how much you square it
On
when
both
when you
ends.
take out your best player,
Yeah.
one of the best two-way players in the league. There's only so much. Your team was built to have him in it. I don't think you're ever going to be like the best you can ever be or the best team in the league, better than most.
Right.
When your whole game plan was built around this guy and he's not there. But what I'm seeing from Paul George that I think is leading us to seeing the kind of tenacious player that we saw in Indiana. He's not deferring to anybody anymore. He's not number 2 anymore. And I think the thought of, let me just keep it afloat until Kawhi gets back, I think that's done. I think it's like,
Right.
hey man, it's my house until parents come home. It's my house until Kawhi comes home. And he's just owning that instead of, just like I've said, keep the ship alive until the best player comes back. Own the fact that you are now the best player on your team.
Right.
Take the most shots on the floor. Have the most assists. Have the highest usage rate. And you get back to being Paul George. There's no deference. There's no timidness anymore.
Yeah, and as you said, like Kawhi and him are similar, very similar players, both in terms of like what they can do on offense and defense. You take Kawhi out of there now, Paul George, not only are you putting more shots up, you're also engaged the entire time against the other team's best wing, sometimes best ball handler all night. Yeah. Like definitely a different kind of meal plan there for him.
100%.
As you said, he's now the guy, and that's why I forgive some of the efficiency.
And then
stuff.
the offense is predicated.
But
to him.
the only thing is, my point is that like he was no number 2 last year with the championship 2 rounds in sight, and they killed the Jazz, and then they have some very competitive game against the Suns. I just saw a level of play there. Yeah. But I just saw a level of play there that I'm not seeing anymore.
Also, the ball. You can't forget the ball.
What?
He was complaining big time. George was about the changing of the ball. That's why. That's why he's not hitting his threes.
Right.
Because he got stalled.
Paul George is still one of the best players in the league. He's still like 3rd in the league in scoring this year. He's up there. I agree. I just think that this team needs Kawhi back and healthy. He's not the guy that can carry the weight anymore like he did in Indiana a couple of those years.
I agree. With how competitive the West is in the league, he's never been the guy. I know he was 3rd in MVP voting one year. He was really never the 3rd best player in the league. He's always been in that like 7th to 15th best player, and he's proven his playoff. He's gotten rid of his playoff baggage last year, and he's keeping the ship afloat, which is his job until Kawhi comes back.
I don't know. I'm a little more optimistic on Paul George. It's crazy. I'm more optimistic on Paul George than you.
I'm just worried because I haven't seen it this year.
And
I've seen
understand.
flashes.
But
I want to see it every night, not every other night. Out of this type of player, every night.
I think there's something to be said for it being 18 games in the season,
right.
20 games in the season,
yeah.
And who knows when when they're gonna have Kawhi back? But there's a level of expectation that Kawhi is gonna be here, and he's not. It's okay. We got to figure this thing out on the fly. And how do we get to it? And the fact that Paul George has gotten us off to a 10-8 start when we've seen the Bucks struggle, we've seen the Lakers struggle, we've seen other teams in the NBA struggle. The Sixers struggling without Embiid. Like the fact that we have this here, 10-8 is not. It could be much worse.
It's good. I just think that they are better than that.
I hear you. We're gonna go down to the last person who's starting to flip heads, and this one it's if you're a basketball fan, this one makes you smile, man.
Right.
DeMar DeRozan founding what he had in Toronto with the Chicago Bulls, who are just as a team, as individual narratives, are all continuing the narrative of most impressive or most improved into the season. DeMar DeRozan is the last staple. In 2016-2017, his best year on Toronto, 27 points per game, 20 field goal attempts, 46% from the field. This season, 26 points per game, 18 field goal attempts, 49% from the field, 6th in the NBA in scoring. The Bulls are off to a roaring start. DeMar DeRozan, isn't flipping the script from how we started till now. Is flipping the script of the last couple of years. People think he's downing out to. DeMar DeRozan might find himself on an All-NBA team this year.
Might be playing his best season of his career,
it's
honestly.
great. It's
great.
That
last year in Toronto was really good right before Kawhi came in.
Mid-range game is not dead.
Right.
I always got to say it. Mid-range game is not dead.
The thing is, too, he's 6th in scoring in the league at 26.3 points. Well, the two guys above him are only 26.4 points, so 0.2 points more, and he's 4th in the league in scoring.
Mm-hmm.
And that's with Zach LaVine being 7th in the league in scoring right behind him. I mean, we talked about the Bulls finding their mold, and it's just so interesting to me. And I was never a big DeMar DeRozan guy. I thought he was, worthy of the attention, but not on that A grade of superstars. We could be flipping my script on that now. I mean, he's having a great year.
I was actually kind of surprised. I'm surprised he's won the leading scorer on the Bulls. And I'm surprised he's scoring this well because I thought it was going to be Showtime Chicago. And it looks like that at points, right? You have Lonzo Ball, who loves the open floor, Zach LaVine, who's a high flyer, guys who can get up and down the floor. But they have such a balance where you have those two who command the open floor. But then when it's time to go to the half court, who we got? We got DeMar DeRozan and Nick Vooch, two of the best half court players in the NBA, who you give it to them in the half court and they shine. And I got my young bucks who, if teams want to make it a track meet, we got something for y'all too.
The Bulls are a story of a team that's built so well that everyone makes everyone better.
I was just about to say.
They're
Lonzo,
constructed
LaVine,
so well.
DeRozan, Vucevic.
All having great
years.
They
all just slide together, and it's like they're meant to play together for this long, and they all bring out each other's best. LaVine gives DeRozan, and I always thought that would be a little ball hoggy worry, but no, they're playing it perfectly with each other.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And Ball is facilitating to them perfectly, and then Vucevic, it's just they're such a fun team, and DeRozan is the basketball lovers
feel good story,
shining object that shows
absolutely.
Oh, look how nice this is.
It's funny because for a while it was DeMar DeRozan, his best asset or best I guess ability is his mid-range game, and for a while during the Golden State run it was it's all about three-pointers, not the mid-range, and secretly, quietly, he was getting better and better in San Antonio. He really upped his efficiency, and now he's in Chicago. You look at the breakdown of where he's shooting it. So we talk about 2016 in Toronto being his best year. 92% of his shot attempts came inside the three-point arc. They were two-pointers. Now it's down to 86.7. He's up to 13% of his shots being threes compared to 8% back then. And the big part, here's the big one, 35.6% from three this year, a huge step up from the mid-20s that he was the past couple of years. So he's all the way
so
up.
quietly getting better in the old school game and old head game, but then showing you I can shoot with you young bucks sometimes too if you need
and that's what has
getting better at the
big
three
jump.
game. This is that 36% you said is his best 3-point percentage of his career.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been impressed. I'm happy we're seeing 40-point DeMar DeRozan games again because there was a point. What was it? A 2-year stint, right, with the Spurs? 2 years with them.
I think 3 years.
3 years.
3 years.
Two and a half.
There is a point where you were really thinking DeMar DeRozan's probably prime is over.
Who wants him? No one wants DeMar
DeRozan. The prime is probably over.
Well,
he
now goes into Trevor Ariza category where he's old head who leads a team who needs one more piece to a title. That's why I thought he was starting.
I get way more than Trevor.
Give him a little more respect.
No. He was. That's what I'm saying. He was starting to go to.
Yeah, but
that was the fear. That was the fear.
But PJ Tucker's one piece to a title team recently. But the thing is
PJ Tucker's stats, man, don't look much different than Trevor Ariza's, bro.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, but the thing is you don't see many players that have played this long in the league. He's been in the league a while. DeMar DeRozan have probably their best year 10+ years into their career.
Yeah.
After coming off of 2.5, 3, whatever it was with the Spurs, of really a downswing of everything around the board. So I've been really impressed.
Just giving you, he's a pro's pro, man. I'm just gonna give you that constant professional production night in and night out, and it's someone who rising stars like Zach LaVine and maybe Lonzo Ball can really lean on. And we talked about how well the Bulls are constructed. Zach LaVine still leads the team in clutch field goal attempts. So even though DeMar is scoring, I know when the game is on the line, I know who to get out the way and defer to, which also is just being a veteran statesman. All right, we're going to round out kind of the back end of this episode. And of course, tomorrow is my favorite holiday of the year, one of the best holidays of the year, and Thanksgiving. And everybody's going to get to pick out and have kind of their best dishes, their all-time dishes at the Thanksgiving table. So we decided to get a little Thanksgiving themed here on Straight Facts. You know how we always put teams in the categories, all-time teams, all NBA teams, all NFL teams. We got our all Thanksgiving teams here at Straight Facts. That's the best team to have right there.
People
man.
skip over Thanksgiving like it's nothing.
Talk about
it. Moving to Christmas like Thanksgiving doesn't exist. Thanksgiving, you have the 3 Fs: food, football, family. You just can't beat it.
Rank 'em.
That's beautiful. Matthew.
Don't go there.
I'm not gonna do that. I'm
not gonna go there.
I'm not gonna do that.
Get me in trouble.
That's a 3-way tie.
Actually,
not family.
I don't say family, football, food. That's exactly what I was going to answer, Kyle.
Right.
You were playing family. All right, so we're going to go down the list here. And you're going to get your first team and second team, all Thanksgiving teams. You get a side, you get a potato, you get a dessert.
Turkey's
really
assumed.
Quick. Turkey's assumed, and all the big ones are out the way. I want to know your sides, your potatoes. People sleep on how many dishes got potatoes in them.
Hella potatoes.
And your desserts. I want to hear your first team and second team, Jake. Go ahead.
Okay, so this is actually a little bit, I don't know if it's oxymoron, something like that. I can't have dairy, but my favorite dish of all time is mac and cheese.
And that is
It's a
cruel and
stinger.
unusual punishment.
But
That is
honestly,
cruel and unusual.
You just take the L. You're just
I
like,
might
"Yeah,
have
it's
to
gonna
take.
hurt me."
I will. It's a first teamer. Like you, sometimes you really have to take those
Yeah. You sell your bench.
recruiting sanctions.
You sell your bench for the All-Star.
Yes,
Absolutely.
for sure. The bench gets sold. That's for sure. So we go mac and cheese for the first side.
Toilet.
We get sweet potato casserole. I'd say this is kind of like my out there one. I think one of you guys also had
Why'd
this.
you turn it into a casserole, man?
Because you also put there's like some marshmallow type stuff that goes in there.
So
It's more
candy yams.
very much similar. You got
Gotcha.
brown sugar.
Mhm.
I don't like sweet potatoes, just regular sweet potatoes. I'll just put one of them in the air fryer and eat one of those, and that'll be my lunch. I love
you're
sweet
a-
potatoes.
you're a
No, I'm
demon.
a weirdo for that.
You're
But that's why
absolute demon for that one.
that's why you got to put it on first team for me. And then I mean, this is the OG for dessert, pumpkin pie. If you're not going to have pumpkin pie on Thanksgiving, I don't know when you're having pumpkin pie. So that's why, for that reason, it's got to be first team. And then run through the second team really quick. Stuffing, that's my
Got to.
utility man, versatile, very versatile. Mashed potatoes, another classic. And then this is like my JV, my Jonas Valanciunas. I put him on my third team All NBA. I got pecan pie. Pecan pie. Yeah, I used to be that way.
Bobot, the Bobot of pies.
That John's JV. You
No,
look
the
down
Bo-
and pecan pie is 17 and 14
No,
on
the Bobot
70%
of pies.
shooting somehow. That's all I got to say.
Bo-
Pecan pie,
The
second
Bobot
team.
of
ran
pies.
it out.
It's going to get put in at the very end, but magically it's going to get a slice or two. But it's going to get a plate or two, but it's the Bobot. Kyle, first and second team.
First team, the side is stuffing. For me, I don't know
It's bad.
why.
It's
This is
bad.
my actual favorite thing to eat on Thanksgiving. I don't know if we just make it really good because I've heard people be like, stuffing, that's whatever. I love stuffing.
I just came around to stuffing.
Right.
Not
I
gonna lie,
love the
just came around
stuffing.
to
That's the leftovers. I might have to stop like at Acme tonight because I heard my mom say like there might not be many leftover
Oh, you got to
stuffings
go handle that. You
because
got to go handle
she
that.
didn't buy enough.
You gotta go
So
handle that.
we might not even have leftovers. So I may need to do that.
You got to go handle that.
Potato. I got to pick on it's mashed potatoes.
Mhm.
Potato. I'm not a huge potato guy, but I like them. They're fine. Mashed potatoes will be my potato, and my dessert's gonna be that first slice of pumpkin pie. That first slice of pumpkin pie always hits different. You're stuffed. The 4 o'clock or the second half of the game's on. You grab that, put the whipped cream on in the half. That's always good.
Uncle sitting in the Barker Lounge next to you.
Right. And we'll move to the second team. My side's gonna be green beans. Slept on one.
Wow.
I'm not huge on like the cranberry. I hate the cranberry. So I'm gonna go the green beans. My mom throws like bacon in it. She gets wild with it.
Okay,
But it works out.
That makes sense. I'm like, why? How do green beans?
But
make
it works
second
out.
Team, but she remixed.
But
the
it works
green
out. My second potato is nothing because I hate sweet potatoes. Like
Wow,
I
what?
hate sweet potatoes. They're my worst. So second
You're really
team,
gonna say that with me sitting right here? You
Right.
know what I said about sweet
like, and I don't
beans.
like,
He watched you said.
and I don't like mashed
That's
potatoes enough to
crazy.
double up like I'm about to do on
Right.
dessert.
You don't
Dude, I hate
potatoes.
sweet potatoes.
Potatoes au gratin, cheesy potatoes. Y'all just stop. Just two potato
So
options?
like the way we do the way we do the mashed potatoes, I guess it's really not mashed potatoes. It's more like the cheesy ones.
Yeah.
So that'll be like my first.
yeah,
whatever.
cheesy potatoes.
Yeah,
good,
but
good,
no,
good.
potato second. Get sweet potatoes out of here. We're not going to talk about it. But and then my dessert second team.
That's wild.
My dessert second team. That's that second slice of pumpkin pie.
Yo,
You know I'm coming back.
pies, man.
You know I'm coming back for seconds.
Y'all need
And
to
that
broaden the
one,
horizons with the pies.
and that one hits almost just as good as the first one does. You cracked that one out during the night game.
Y'all
you hit that
y'all
one
put
late.
anything on it? Any Cool Whip?
Whipped
Any
cream.
ice cream?
Yeah, whipped
yeah,
cream. Yeah.
Cool Whip.
Anything.
You
I
warm
mean,
it up
I-
first too?
I can't, but
Dude, and people sleep on
Jake,
like
dude, I'm so
people
sorry.
sleep on the crust,
Let's
the
get on
crust
with
of
it.
the pumpkin pie. If you get a good crust on the pumpkin, that's good too.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay.
First, second team, Matt.
I'm gonna make it a little audible from what's on the list, so a little surprise. But first team side, stuffing. Stuffing is the perfect. It's just the perfect side. You mix it with the potatoes.
Yep.
You mix it with the turkey.
Yep.
The next leftover day, you shove it in a sandwich.
Right.
Yeah, versatile.
It's
Versatile.
It's a utility, man. You add
Even if-
anything,
Even
you
if
need
some
it to
gravy
do.
gets on it, I'm cool with that.
Yeah,
It's
no,
like if Wilson
Please put some
Valdez
gravy
was
on
a
it.
MVP candidate.
Please put some gravy on it.
So, first team, I don't know why I put casserole. I think I just kind of it's just sweet potatoes. My first team potato.
Okay.
And they're just solid.
But straight sweet potatoes?
You
I'm
got-
with Kyle
like a
on
baked
straight
sweet
sweet
potato?
You gotta
potatoes.
bake sweet
I don't like any
potatoes.
of
You
it.
got to salt them a little bit. Yeah, they're good. And
He's with me. Matt's with me.
Salt them.
You get a little salt, little salt, butter,
little
something like
touch,
that.
little
Air,
touch.
if you air fries them. You got a problem with
Yeah,
salting
and
them?
Jake, if I ever see you air fry a sweet potato and
No,
take it
no,
out
you put
and
it. All right,
bite
look,
like a
you're so
little-
asleep on this. Viewers at home, if you have an air fryer, put a sweet potato in some tin foil. Bam, 400 for like, I don't know, you do like 40, 30 minutes. I don't know, until you like it and it's soft. Pull that joint out. Maybe put some olive oil on it before it goes into cook. I'm telling you, you will thank me.
I'm gonna
When
start
you
it-
open that joint up, you will thank me.
I'm gonna start a GoFundMe to get Jake some groceries because clearly we're just eating straight.
I just
sweet
re-upped
potatoes.
on sweet potatoes. I'm good.
my first team all dessert is my mom makes this oatmeal pie. It's the most delicious thing ever. I've never heard anyone else
Yeah,
make
we
it.
were saying when we
Yeah.
were looking at this when we were all in here.
Not gonna lie, we're kind of making fun of it.
Yeah.
It sounds weird.
I
It's
said you can make a pie out of anything. Why would you choose oatmeal?
No, it's like sweet. It's got like a small little crunch
What's
in
the
it.
consistency? So it's just like a little
That
crunch.
does
Yeah,
sound-
it's got a crunch and like gooey in the middle.
I think like oatmeal flavor in something baked is really good. So like
Yeah.
I can
love
see it
oatmeal,
being
so
good.
that-
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
can
have
see it
to
being
search
good.
Yeah.
that one out.
I
See
can
who
see
else makes it.
So
Second
second
team.
team, gravy.
I don't know if that counts as a side, Matt, because I don't think if you
You've
can
never
get
seen
this-
Matt work the gravy before, bro.
No,
I'll count
my
it.
brother- my
Yes.
brother's
Crazy,
a big-
yeah.
my
It's a
brother's actually the
condiment.
big gravy guy,
It's a
but
sauce.
it's a side. It's a sauce on the side. You can.
I'm
Here
not-
you go.
it's
My
a-
fault.
Sure.
Break it down the
No,
facts
no,
of
no,
Thanksgiving.
no.
Yeah, my
This is my protest. I love mac and cheese. Mac and cheese is not a staple of my family's Thanksgiving.
It isn't necessarily. I know a lot of people who are like, it's not. Not me. Not me. Don't
I'm
get
about
me
to say,
wrong. It's my first team, but I do know I've heard that before.
Yeah,
People are like,
I
yeah, I
love
don't
mac
do
and
it.
cheese, but it's
You
not
don't
like
need
part
them
of
people in your life.
Green beans is a good shout. My mom makes there's the little bacon bits and
Yeah,
like the
she does that
garlic
too.
and too.
Yeah, that's good
Yeah,
stuff.
that's great. I'm subbing out my. I don't really like mashed potatoes. I just put a second potato there because it's there. I'm subbing out. I'm putting a soup. We make this pumpkin soup, and we got this flatbread that we dip it in, and it's delicious.
That sounds good.
It actually sounds good.
Yeah,
It actually sounds really good.
It's really, really good.
It's not a potato, but it sounds really good.
It'll be a potato on the
It'll be-
graphic.
yeah.
and second team dessert pumpkin pie. It's a classic. You gotta have it there.
Yes.
Even though
on the pie.
I'm not the biggest fan of pumpkin pie, but you gotta have it there.
Okay, I'm gonna teach y'all something.
There's one pie I'll put on, but I mean that first and second slice is too good.
That pie's gotta be 13.
Yeah, it's too
All right,
good.
here goes my list. My first side is mac and cheese. I mean, I don't really gotta say too much about it.
Right.
Just mac and cheese is an all timer. It's the way my mom makes it. Five cheese mac and cheese.
Franchise
That's what my
player.
mom does with bacon too.
Ooh.
But she doesn't make it that much
Your
on
family love.
Thanksgiving.
I kind
She
of
makes it on Christmas all the time.
I kind of like your family's
The
mindset
5
with
cheese,
the bacon.
dude.
We put
But tell your
bacon
mom
in
to
it.
put the bacon in it.
I might have to say that. I'm not gonna
So
suggest
good.
her doing it on Thanksgiving.
No,
You trying to
but-
get me killed?
Yo,
but
it's so good though.
yeah, but I'm gonna try one time. Second one is mashed potatoes. I kind of make my own mashed potatoes where, like, before I put the gravy on, I put butter and some cheese in a little bit, and then
Right.
put the gravy in
Right.
it. So my own mashed potatoes, I love them. If I had to pick a first team mashed potato, it's right there. And then dessert, first team is sweet potato pie. Like, I get y'all what y'all talking about with pumpkin.
That's not the one
I'm
going
intrigued with oatmeal. But if y'all ever had sweet potato pie now,
See,
come
so
on.
here's
man.
one thing. I've never had it, and
Never
I've always
had it.
wanted to try it.
What?
I feel like it's
Mom, I know you listen to this pod, Mom. I gotta bring my guys some sweet potato pie. They gonna love you, man.
It
They gonna love
sounds
you.
good. Like,
Whoa.
bro.
I'm talking to sweet potato.
I'm
man.
Mr. Sweet Potato. Like, so, like, I'm sure I would like it. I'm just.
I know I'm talking to sweet potato head. So like I'm definitely gonna
Put
bring
it in the
you
air
some.
fryer. You'll like it.
My second side is stuffing. I really do think to me it's blossomed into the KD
So good.
of Thanksgiving dessert. It can score in any way. We talked about it. You put it on the side of anything. And I don't know if y'all have peeped the stuffing and mac and cheese combo yet. You're welcome for that one. You're welcome. For
That's a level up.
Oh,
We don't always do mac and
it's-
cheese. I hope we have it tomorrow. though.
It's beautiful. Oh, it's beautiful. My second team potato, and this is where I'm really surprised y'all don't get more funky with the potatoes, is the cheesy potatoes. So like,
Right.
you get like the cherry potatoes, bake them, cut them up, and then put them in like a creamy cheese sauce, almost like potatoes au gratin, but it's like less, fancy and more kind of just cheese and cream. And it's
That sounds
it's so good. My nana makes it. It's the best. It doesn't always get Thanksgiving play, but if we go to my mom's side, it gets Thanksgiving play,
too.
and it's great. And then my second team dessert, it's not pumpkin pie. I'm sorry, pumpkin pie's there. I see it, but this is to me just all around fall, not Thanksgiving. How about some like hot apple pie with ice cream?
That was
on
the other
top?
one I was
That's a
going to
big
say. I
three.
could see
Woo!
the apple pie. I could see.
And you talked about the crust on the pumpkin, a nice
Yeah,
apple
you're right
crumb
about
pie
that.
with a
You're right
whoa.
about that.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Come on, give it to me, man.
You're right about
That was my toughest omission, I'd say.
Me too.
And I hear y'all about pumpkin pie. I really do. I like pies are so good, man.
Right.
There's a lot of really good pies, dog.
Right.
I'm honestly excited talking about this now. I'm like getting
Like, I
excited.
can't wait to get up and get.
My reasoning was
I get
like,
to it tomorrow.
I'm always getting the first slice of pumpkin pie. And to be honest, every Thanksgiving I get that second slice, and I don't touch that apple pie until the next day for leftovers.
There you go.
'Cause That's
There
just
you
too
go.
much.
That's
pie.
the next day.
Loki,
thing.
yo,
That's just too much pie.
I'm also leftover, man.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
me. So like, I love Thanksgiving because I got lunch for like the next 2 weeks, man. Like, I'm not
Right.
afraid to eat this turkey until
So
midway
stuffing
through
is OP lunch lockdown
You
for
catch
next
me
week.
That's
in
why I need to go
Thanksgiving
get
food
some,
till,
bro. I'm
till
with
December
Mom.
14th. Like I'm in there. But we will round out this episode. Of course, we can always get some shots up at the buzzer. Who's got a shot up at the buzzer?
I got a fun bet. I told you guys. I didn't tell you who. So there's a player who I recently bet on to win Defensive Player of the Year. That before you jump me when I say the name, I don't think he's going to win, but he very well could. I saw a stat come across my Twitter feed. Opponents are shooting a 34.9% when guarded by this player, the lowest mark in the league by any player.
Who's about
with
to say?
150 shots
Who's about to
defended.
say?
It's
Wait for
9% lower than a normal field goal percentage, also the best mark in the league. That player plays for the Washington Wizards, and that player is Denny Avdia, 490 to 1 to win
God,
Defensive Player of the Year.
You're a
491.
degenerate.
You put down $2, you're taking home $1,000. I'm
You're a
not saying
degenerate.
it's going to happen,
It's not gonna happen.
but let him keep this up till the end of the year, and you get Kevin O'Connor, and you get the stat community looking at it. There's going to be a couple videos about it.
Kevin
And there'll be
O'Connor, he's calling you out by name.
Kevin, please, I need this, man.
Help him with it.
But
He's
yeah, I
got
think,
some debts.
Yeah, seriously.
Come on, very
There's
sure
something
about
on this.
But
right?
I think beyond him winning, he is another, like we talked about the Wizards a few weeks ago. He's a big reason as to why they are as good as they are defensively.
Right.
The fifth best team in the NBA.
I can see him
defensively.
landing on a surprise like third team all
But
NBA.
he's way likelier to do something like that.
on
Right.
some Lou Dort stuff.
Just tell me the last time a Defensive Player of the Year wasn't a starter. Like,
Right, no, and it's incumbent upon him becoming the starter. I think
Right.
that's realistic, though. Like, on some nights, they start
have to be an injury.
KCP. If KCP goes downhill with the three-point shooting, I don't know, I'm just making
Right.
up stuff.
No,
Who
that's
knows?
tough.
But, like,
that's tough.
490 to 1. I'm not going to...
Yeah, jump on
Yeah.
it, huh?
I'm not. I just
Yeah.
checked because I was curious. I'm like, oh, they don't have him, and he was the very last player listed.
Jump on. Kyle, what you got to say at the buzzer?
Man, I just want to say I'm thankful, bro.
Yes, sir.
Thankful. I
Talk
started,
about
it's the
it.
season. We didn't really mention it. We were more talking about food, but I mean, Thanksgiving is more about just the food and the football. It's that
I love
third
that.
F. It's that family. I just got a job. I started this week, full-time job, so I'm thankful for
Yes,
that.
sir, yes, sir.
Thankful for this pod, bro. We're going up. We got a lot of places to go here, and
Yep.
just everything's been going well lately. So I'm just thankful. It's time of the season. It's time to be that.
Yes, sir.
I love that. That's my favorite at the buzzer of the year, man. Just be thankful.
Okay. I started working at an AT&T store recently, and you people have to be nicer to your grandparents.
He's not thankful.
Oh, man.
No, I got a lady. She called the AT&T store asking how to send a picture to her son on an iPhone.
Oh my gosh.
And she said, "Oh, sorry." I was trying to explain to her. She couldn't understand it.
Mhm.
She drove 15 minutes to the store
No.
for me to. It's like, guys, you gotta help out your elders. They didn't grow up with this technology.
Yeah, talk to
They
your mom.
gotta
man.
learn. How do you download an app?
Matt,
What is YouTube? It's like, I get these questions. I'm trying to I get people who are asking about the best features of that Samsung Galaxy Fold Flip, this giant ass $1,800 phone, and then I got people who's just like, oh, I don't know, how come this app won't download? I'm like, oh, you have to hit install.
Right.
And it's like, you gotta help these people out.
Matt, they would.
You have a job as a family member that you don't get paid for that you need to do. instead of taking up my job that I get paid for.
They can't contact them, Matt. They're trying. They need
Hey.
That's
okay,
right.
this Thanksgiving, talk to your elders.
A great PSA.
Teach them how to use their phones well.
Right.
Because it's going to be busy on holiday time. They're going
to get a lot of new technology from the holidays.
They're going to be sitting in the AT&T or Verizon or T-Mobile store for an hour, just waiting to see how you send a text Snapchat. Photo.
That's right too. I on Christmas break in college, you know how like Christmas Target's always just flooded. Like Target's always hiring just seasonally. I was home for like 5 weeks. I was like, I'll work there. I was in the technology department for 5 weeks around Christmas time. Matt is not lying. I mean, you have the people that are like, just like you said, why is this so good? Like, does this have a HD, blah, 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 4K camera, blah, blah, blah. And then you get the people that come in and it's just like, I got too many, like, how do I close out my phone? How do I close out my apps? How do I call someone? He's not lying.
I know.
Good luck.
Incredible. Like,
I only did it for 5 weeks, but good luck.
You really be having you wondering, like, how'd you get here? Like, how did you go about your day to day? Like, it's like you don't know how to do this. So yeah, great PSA for Matt. Help your grand. I don't know how everybody else's grandparents are, but my grandma has literally the latest and greatest technology before I even hear of it. So she tells me about my iPhone. So
I think my grandpa actually just got a new phone and texted my mom like, I don't know how to do whatever. So we might be teaching him tomorrow.
There you go. My at the buzzer is quick because I know I probably share this common space with you three and a lot of people out there. When the family comes together for the holidays, a lot of people find themselves of being the people in the room that everyone has to challenge their sports takes to. Like, I'm the guy who their uncle has to bring his crazy sports thing. Well, I got to discuss why the Giants stink for the third, fourth time that week to my one uncle, or why the Yankees bought all their championships in 2009. Like, it's just something I got to take. So this is me reaching out to y'all three, just extending a metaphorical just hug and holding hand. And to everybody out there who has to deal with their entire family, just berating them with their nonsense sports takes because we're the people who we're the sports guys in the family. So we got to take those bullets.
I get it on Christmas, not Thanksgiving.
Man, it's brutal, dog.
I got the side of the family on Thanksgiving.
Takes.
Oh, it's brutal.
Yeah.
And they be screaming at for people who haven't watched sports since their heyday. All they can reference are sports that happened in the 80s. All they can reference is Earl the Pearl Monroe, and I can't do it.
Right, exactly. He's the best ever.
I can't do it.
All I get is it's like a mix of both of them. I'm like the stat verifier. Like, oh, what did he do that one? Oh, hey, Jake, look that up.
Yeah.
Like, my uncle's my dad. I'm like, all right, like, this has got to stop. You guys have the same phones that I do.
You're the straight facts guy. And that's what I get. Well, James, you're the straight facts guy.
Right.
So what happened to I had to literally almost strangle my uncle a couple of years ago because he didn't believe me that Philip Rivers was the best quarterback in Chargers history. He was trying to peg Dan Fouts at me, and I said, hey, man, I get that Dan Fouts at one point probably was the Chargers' best quarterback. Right. But like we just gotta get.
That's a fair debate. We just gotta get in
the modern era of football though. But if you had to decide on one side of the coin, who's the Chargers?
I'd have to actually think about it. Dan Fouts is in the Hall of Fame, and I don't think Philip Rivers should be. I have to think of.
We're not going down this rabbit hole.
No,
we're absolutely not.
Philip is a Hall of Famer.
He's a Hall of Famer. We're just absolutely not going down this rabbit hole. But that was supposed to be an example, Matt. That was not supposed to be something for you to challenge me on.
I'll give my first bad sports take memory. It was like 2005-ish or 2005. Eagles were playing poorly, and we were watching a Lions Thanksgiving game. And my great uncle said, "Man, the Eagles could really use a quarterback like Joey Harrington." That's stuck in my mind.
That might have shut down the holidays for me. That might have shut it down. But we will come to an end of this episode. Just remember to be thankful, as Kyle said, and please, just from our Straight Facts family to yours, have a happy holiday, happy Thanksgiving, enjoy the time with your family. But that's all the time we have for this episode of Straight Facts. It was a good one, again, presented by the Up On Game Network. Shout out my guys, Jake Galley, Kyle Sirik, and Stat Matt Robinson. I am James Jackson. These have been the facts.
Straight up.